Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Another exciting show, another exciting guest. Today we're going to tap into the world of fashion. And those that know me know I love fashion. And I'm talking about from my bell-bottom pants to shirts to the beast wear, you name it. But today in the fashion game, we see a lot of people becoming one-dimensional. Let me explain what one-dimensional means. One-dimensional means that everybody is screen printing or putting their logo on a product. I get that. It's cost efficient to some degree, and it's an easy way to get your brand out. But let's talk about changing the game. Just imagine going to the store and you're buying Louis Vuitton, Calvin Klein, cross colors, the whole 9 yards. Let me take you down the road of a young man who decided, I've had enough of buying somebody else's stuff. I'm going to not only imagine, but I'm going to create my own brand, my own line of clothing. And we have just the young man who did that. That's welcome to the show, Mr. Paris Williams. What's up, big dog?
Nothing much. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. So before we get started, tell the viewers a little bit about who Paris actually is.
Yeah. My name is Paris Rafeal Williams. I'm born and raised in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Currently, I reside in the Bronx, New York. Been doing clothing for at least 13 years. I've been in multiple fashion weeks. I actually competed on Project Runway. I came 8th out of 1,500 to the final spot to get on the show. And didn't work out. That was a few years ago. Just out here working, striving. I'm a self-taught designer. I just debuted in Manhattan Fashion Week. That was the video you have seen on TikTok this February. And I'm going back to do it again this year.
So, I mean, what was some of the what pissed you off that you had to come up with your own clothes?
Everything was like you said, screen print and things that were not attainable to us. You know what I mean? It was only Gucci, Louis, others like that. That's where you can really get tailor-made stuff. And I wanted to be a designer. I remember thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, and I wanted to do art. And I draw very well. I used to draw portraits, but I realized people that do art like that usually don't make money until they pass away.
Right.
So I taught myself designing, so it's like a physical form that I can see now. And I literally just been working on my craft, honing my craft, getting better. Using finer fabrics. I have something I just made 2 days ago behind me.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, when we're talking about, this is so funny how people's lives cross. When I was growing up, my mom and my grandmother told me how to sew.
Yeah.
You know, I remember going to get the patterns. You know what I mean? You know, they used to have you go to the fabric store and you picked out what you wanted, and they used to lay it out on material and cut it and blah, 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 blah. Who taught you how to do that?
That's up. I'm not gonna lie. From jump, the first thing I did, I remember, I forgot. I didn't know how to make a shirt or anything, so I went to the thrift store. I bought a button up and I took it apart seam by seam. And once I took it apart, I kind of seen how a shirt is constructed. And then I simply used the pattern, made my own pattern, and put it back together. And that was the first thing I ever made. And it wasn't like great, but it was good enough to where I was thinking, man, if I practice this for a few years, I can be dangerous.
You was doing reverse engineering on clothes?
Yes. That's the only thing I knew to do. I knew I had a son by then. I was already 23, and I knew I couldn't go to school at that moment, but I knew I could learn. So I started teaching myself, and then I bluffed my way into the job working for the Pennsylvania art director.
What was the most difficult part of learning how to do this, to do your craft, before we get into actually branding it? Because first you got to be able to master the craft. How long did it take you to really master the craft? And what were some of the challenges that you ran into, even if it's as simple as making a shirt or making a pair of pants? What were some of the challenges?
The challenge is quality, learning how to produce quality because you can produce something, but if it's not of a certain condition, you're just selling somebody a piece of art or like a side project. I'm really trying to start a clothing line. So the hardest part for me, I'll say, was doing what I didn't want to do, but it was still involved within my craft. For instance, I make clothing, but in order to get better and hone my craft, I started doing tailoring and alterations. So like and the crazy thing is at my store, a majority of my business was tailoring and alterations. I wasn't even selling that many jackets. There was more people coming in the older crowd, coming in to tailor suits, bringing suits, make them a button up. I even made a few suits. So that really helped me push my craft. Because in order to make a suit, you have to put 40 hours into it. Um, and when I made the suit, it just taught me how to make a more quality product. And I applied that to my jackets and all of my clothes moving forward.
How difficult is it to craft even as something as simple as, I'm gonna say simple, something like a suit? Because I see movies where guys get suits made. I'm gonna be honest. I had my suits made and it was a beautiful experience. The guy came to my home and he educated me. Totally different than going to buy a suit off the rack. And I enjoyed the experience. It was a little costly, but not that much costly because, like you said, he walked me through the fabrics.
Mhm.
He educated me on what color suits I needed. At this time, they were double breast was in style, so I was doing double breast. If I look back now, I would have never did double breast because that fashion went out really quick. And you can't re-alter, you can't really redo double breast once they are done. But anyway, he was like, you need a tan, you need a navy blue, you need a black, you need a black and white looking suit. You know what I mean? And then he educated me on pants and the length. And when he got done, and I'll tell you what really impressed me, my name was in the garment. When it was crafted, it was specially made for me. And when he bought it to me, the fit was immaculate. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, it was, and you know what, Paris, I felt different. I felt like, I'm gonna be honest, I felt like a superhero. Like this belongs to me. It was crafted and engineered for me. What's the difference with going to, and I'm gonna get your expertise because that's just how I felt.
Mhm.
What is the difference with going to buy something off of the rack that you have to get tailored or you think it may fit or you got to get it altered here and there? What's the pros and cons? I know it's money, but there's also a pro and con here too.
The rack is general sizing, small, medium, large, especially for men. I recommend it's okay to buy off the rack, but if you do, take it to get altered to fit you, no matter what you buy. Custom clothing, yeah, it's only made for you. It's not made. You can't pass it off to somebody else. The body type from the length to the arms to the shoulders to the neck, everything is for just for you. And of course, I mean, off the rack looks good. There's plenty of clothes that I even bought off the rack that look good as soon as you put them on. But things when they're tailored to your body size, body type, and your size, you can't beat it.
What has been some of the setbacks with that? Because it costs to make garments. I mean, let's be real. It costs to make garments. How lucrative has it been for you, and what have been the challenges? Because you're trying to convince people to go from off the rack to really having that experience, but that experience still costs. What have been some pros and cons?
When I first started out, at least this was even back in 2017 or 18, I couldn't even sell a jacket for $50. And I'm hand making them. My quality was going up, but it wasn't really working out at times. So I just went on a run and I did pop ups and I went to different states. And I'm not gonna lie, where I was at, it was decent, could have been better, especially in Harrisburg, PA. But when I started moving around and doing shows in Atlanta and New York, I started getting receptions from people like, "Oh, I like this," and I was making money. I was selling jackets. And then this one lady came to me and she said, "There are the have and the have-nots." And I'm like, "Okay." She said, "Right now your jackets are priced for the have-nots." I'm like, "The price is decent." She was like, "Yeah, but you need to price it for the haves because everybody should not be able to have access to this art.
I agree to some degree
Mm-hmm.
because it makes sense, but I also understand you're trying to, and I like how you open the show, and this what really got me, and I need the viewers to hear this. I get what she's saying, but also understand your mission. You're trying to put your product in everybody's hand. To
Everybody.
show, and I respect that more than me not being able to attain it.
Yeah, yeah. And my price is, even though she said that, if you check my website, my lowest price starts low, my highest price is not high. So I'm in a reasonable category right now, and I really enjoy it.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
you've been doing this since 2013. What were you doing before that?
I was a professional comedian.
No way. Tell me a joke.
I was funny, but just being on stage, that took a toll on me. I opened up for Lonnie Love at IUT. I got offered like a 25-week tour, but I turned that down because my oldest son, he was young then. And I also got offered a pilot for TBS. But I turned it down because I didn't want to be on the stage anymore. I didn't like the environment. I didn't like paying the dues and the bars and the stuff like that. I should have stuck with it a little bit because I was really good. And the craziest part is one of the biggest comedians, almost one of the biggest comedians in the world, his name is Shane Gillis. He just did a Netflix. He's there. He's on top right now. And he and I started in the same circuit. He was a city over from me. And the last conversation we had, I was like, I'm going to go do fashion. And he was like, hey, if you should really stick to this comedy, I promise it's going to take a spot. I was like, listen, I don't like this and I don't have time to wait. I'm going to go do fashion. That's my passion and I'm out.
Now, do you guys still stay in contact with each other, even though you went different ways?
Yeah.
And that's kind of odd. We've had professional comedians on the show.
Yeah.
They never really talk about, because they're still in it, but you left because you didn't like a lot of this stuff. Like, what was some of the stuff you didn't like?
Secular. I mean, not all secular. I'm close to my religion, and I don't like being in environments where people are drinking every night because you have to be in bars for most of the time. And like some of the people I was doing, like you have a kind of a crew you move around with. It's a circuit. Some of the people that were in that circuit, I didn't like being around that. I just didn't. And it kind of tapped the fun. When I first started, my family used to come. That's why I did. And just to make my family laugh. I loved it. My family, they would come out in numbers on a Thursday night dressed up because they didn't know I was going on stage. That was like the high of comedy for me. Once it kind of changed over and I'm places without any family in the crowd, I'm here, that I didn't like it.
When you decided to really pursue what you like, which is your clothing line and stuff, who was your biggest supporters, and how did your family support you with your decision?
You said when I first started out?
Yeah, when you in 2013, when you said, you know what,
there weren't many.
I'm going all out with this. You know, I don't care what nobody says. How did they receive your decision?
Not very well all the time. Literally, I made up my mind at the time. I decided what I was going to be and what I was going to pursue. And when you wake up and you tell people what you're going to be, some people don't believe you. It doesn't matter. But I didn't have the most support. I kept going, and even I bumped heads with important family members at times. Back in 2017, that felt as though I wasn't being a good father or a husband by pursuing this. That I needed to go get a real office job and sit down and treat this like a hobby. And I kind of told them no. And
That's kind of wild that even in this generation that we've been so conditioned to not want to we'll put in more work for somebody else to sit behind a desk, to go bust a brick, but we won't put 2 hours into ourselves. And I'm telling you what's even more astounding to me, and the older I get, I still don't understand why. Even the people that's supposed to support us don't. They rather come to me. It's like this, Paris. If you can't say something nice, don't say shit to me.
yeah,
I don't care what your family or friends.
that can't even sew with a hand needle, and everybody has input on it. And I knew what God said to me, and I kept going. And I learned, and I'm at the point in my career right now where things are going very well. I'm down there going viral. My website's getting hit every 2 minutes. And now certain friends and family members that were naysayers are really coming back around, and we all know why. We know because things are working out, and like I'm learning not to hold any grudges
What was your
because
disappointment of family? That's key because a
okay,
lot of times I tell people the people that hate on you most are the motherfuckers that you see closely all the time. You know what I
and
mean?
it was somebody very close to me and my family, and I don't want to speak on who it was in particular, but that person now is my biggest supporter. Parents should learn. You want to make money, but you want to be happy. That's just the thing. Oh,
You sound like you happen. I think a lot of people do reverse engineering. They rather get money and keep money, and at the end of the day, they're pissed and they're not even
because
happy. I'd be
it's
like,
happy
well, you got what
money.
you asked for. You asked for a lot of money.
You find the happiness first, and then money comes from it. That's how I found this. That lady, I was working at PennDOT. It was a great job, and she was like, "Why you look so upset? I cannot do this and retire in 30 years." But she was like, it's one of the top jobs in the city, and you should be happy. You got a desk. No, I don't care how much you pay me. I can't die here." And that's what she said to me. She said, "Find what you could do every day, whether or not you were paid for it. Once you found that, you found your passion." And I found art, and I started practicing, and now I get paid for it. And now I've been in shows. I made almost 15,000 in Manhattan Fashion Week last year. It was I live a dream right now.
And it's definitely a beautiful dream. So what's next for you? Like what leave the viewers with something that you live by every day that keeps you going.
Okay. I don't tell many people, but my overall goal. So I have a brand called London Correct, but there is a company called LMV, and under LMVH is Gucci, Prada, um, Moet, all the drinks, Douce, everything. They own it actually, and he's one of the richest people in the world next to Elon Musk. A lot of people don't know this. And it's called a house. By the time I'm 45 or 47, I know London, the clothing is going to be great. I'm going to be doing great, but I want to turn London into a house where I house all of the high-end minority, from clothing to lotion to drinks to everything, and I want to be the house. London's the house, and we bring it. We bring like if I can see somebody that has potential and I see listen, you're gonna make that money. Come with us, come under this house, we're gonna make you a big name.
Wow, that is vision already ahead of its time. I like
Yeah,
that. I like
yeah.
that.
I'm thinking like I'm dreaming ahead like and this plan's probably not gonna start until I'm almost 50. And get to start that, but it's like that's another chapter in my life. I plan on reaching that. I plan on still designing. I don't like right now, I'm always gonna keep what done that the people can reach. Like you said, I'll never get out of reach. But my main goal is everybody's like, you want millions? No, I'm not out here looking for millions. I'm looking to get to where a point where London's still selling the jackets, but when you come to me and I touch it and it's custom, a few thousand. So I only gotta make 3 of them a week and I can go spend the rest of the time with my family.
My last question is, you see a different generation now, and you're part of that young generation. What do you think our handicaps are right now? This your generation. What do you think our handicaps are that
Men
prevents us
not
from moving
getting,
forward?
um, at least for minority men, not getting your mental health seriously checked, or dealing with certain traumas that we think as men we should brush under the rug, but they really affect you. They affect your thought process. They affect how you love. They affect how you live. And you got to live in that body, in that mind for the rest of your life. No one else. So make it the best. Treat it like a good car.
Are you speaking from experience?
Heck yes. I just tell you straight up. A little over a year ago, I didn't tell too many people. A little over a year ago, I ended up in a mental institution. They kind of kept me for 2 weeks. Not 2 weeks, a week and a half. But I kind of went in there with depressive thoughts, but not really suicidal thoughts, but highly depressive. I was just down, and I don't know why. We were trying to run stores. I had just had a baby. I couldn't even see where I'm sitting at in front of you right now. I went in there and I was embarrassed at first, like, yo, man, I even seen one of my homies as a security guard that had to take me in the back. it was just embarrassing. Like, yo, now I look crazy. And he was like, no, man, you're just getting yourself out. It's cool. And I went in there and I just had to, you know what I mean? You had to let go. Like, I'm not going to judge. I just went there. I did the therapy. They definitely helped me. But one funny story about that, you had to do these group sessions where you had to be together. And I was like, man, like, what are you going to do in a year? I was like, I'm going to be in New York in Fashion Week. They told me I was having delusions of grandeur and that they're maybe going to have to tweak my medication. But I ended up in Manhattan Fashion Week less than a year later. So who was crazy?
That's crazy.
But I'm not gonna lie. Besides that little thing that happened with them, they helped me. They helped me.
You know,
I'm changed in the business.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you took the initiative to
yeah.
recognize that you did have something that you had to deal with and stuff. When you look back at it, what was the mental part that you led you to depression? I think something
I'll
that
be honest
you
with
did not.
you. I've been battling my whole life, especially being ADHD, and like I'll be honest with you. They said I had a bipolar one, the seasonal depression, especially seasonal. I've been going through that since I was a kid. Don't you know, in the summertime and it's 8 and it's till 8:30. I mean, the sun's out till 8:30, and then it's cold. The sun goes down at 5:30. I will always start to get depressed around Halloween in that season. Every year of my life, I didn't even know I was going through that,
Really?
and it's called seasonal depression. Yeah, because you're not your melanin is not getting as much sunlight as it was getting all summer and stuff like that. So I learned about that in reference to the bipolar, the steep of the being. I knew something was wrong when I would wake up every day like nervous or scared or angry, but it was never well rested and happy.
How long did it take you to get back to yourself, to get back into that creative mindset, to do what
After
you're doing?
I went in there in March of that April, March, or May. When is Easter? May, April,
Not me.
May.
It's around the first part of spring.
So around December, so about 6 to 8 months. Because they say that people go to therapy and think you're sick. No, you go, you get help, and it's still they said really things don't really start taking effect until 6 months after that, and that's a grace period that you have to give yourself. And like it makes me feel like I have superpowers now that I went and got that stuff taken care of.
Now, do you
Shake me before it can't shake me.
now
The things that I worry about before, I don't worry.
do you still deal with self treatment to make sure that you stay focused with your mission here?
For sure. For sure. Like, I'm not an advocate of medication. I don't ever want to say that. But my mom did say, God put the people here that made it, so God technically made it. And so, yeah, I take something, and it's light. I don't take too much, something for focus, something for seasonal depression, and that's it. And it's like, it, I'm happy. And the reason the reason I went into the mental hospital, my son was just born 3 weeks earlier. My first son, I made it through and I fought. And like I felt the hurt inside my head. It never came to him. But I could have been a better dad. But this time around, I still got my youngest son, he turned 2, man, I have another one. I'm gonna go get myself fixed so I can be better for them.
Wow, that's true.
I felt just fine being angry all day and all that stuff. And I was cool with that. But I could see how it would affect. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go be the best I can be for my wife. She had to deal with my attitude going back and forth. That's not right.
So I think they call that emotional intelligence.
Yeah. So yeah. And like now, yeah, I like having emotional intelligence. I like being able to communicate. I still get upset. It's not like I don't get upset, but it just doesn't go in certain ways that it did before because it's okay to get upset, but it's how you do things.
You
And
know,
now I'm doing better. And then, like I said, a year later, I was in Manhattan Fashion Week, and that's when they shot that video that was on TikTok. They shot that. I didn't even know. And life's just been on the up and up. It was like that before too. I went through Atlanta in 2016 when COVID hit. I was still moving around, and Atlanta never stopped ticking during COVID.
really.
And I took a risk out there. I was broke, and I did a pop-up shop, and I had to pay them $1,500. and I gave my last dollar, like literally the morning of the pop up. I only had $16 to my name, and I was gonna call my mom if I failed to go home, and I was pretty upset. But by the end of the day, I ended up meeting two major artists. One was Benny the Butcher, and I made over 3,600.
The universe works in mysterious ways, doesn't it?
So I was elated, and uh, Benny the Butcher had took one of my jackets, and then he wore it to his album release party. That just took me through the roof.
Hmm.
God kind of showed me, like when God shows you stuff, like I know before that, there's been times, it's been hard, it's been up and down. Like God's been blessing me with and showing me, everybody around me is kind of like, all right, it's happening.
So, Paris, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show. How can the viewers reach out to you, get to know more about you, and to get these beautiful products, that custom-made products?
For sure, for sure. I have a website, London Paris, LUNDUN Paris.com. Definitely reach out, and don't hesitate to utilize the comment box, because that's me. I definitely do read them. If you have a question about a size, you can call, send an email. I will respond. I love making custom garments. I want to make something special for you. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another, and I do mean another, episode. First of all, make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, follow. Click that button, support him. If you do that, what usually happens, people, like I tell you all the time before I close out the show, you can change the life of not only yourself, but you can change the life of someone around you. This has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.